So, getting to see Nicolas Cage play a vampire should be every movie fan's dream. I mean, if you saw Vampire's Kiss, a movie where he plays a man who only thinks he's turning into a vampire, I mean, Renfield should have really been a far out there thing. Unfortunately, not really. In fact, he's not even really on screen through for the first half of the film, and when he is, he's usually covered in scar makeup or in a state of such sun-damaged disrepair that we hardly ever really get to see inspired lunacy on his part. The film has more to do with Dracula's familiar, Renfield, played by Nicolas Hoult from The Great. He takes care of Dracula's every need and saves his ass from Van Helsing's of the world, but the selfish bloodsucker still leaves him feeling underappreciated. Now, what the trailers make this movie out as is sort of a horrible bosses meets Bram Stoker, which would have been far funnier than what director Chris McKay really gives us here. It's actually kind of dispiriting how often it veers away from that. Like, Renfield goes to a support group for people with codependency issues, and there are a lot of comic possibilities in a man working through his issues while trying to skirt around the fact that his boss is undead. But writer Ryan Ridley doesn't seem interested. Instead, he introduces Aquafina's Officer Quincy, a traffic cop who wants to prove she's every bit the cop her father was by taking down a big crime family. Shohreh Aghdashloo from The Expanse and Ben Schwartz make up the leaders of that particular outfit. What bothered me about this is that it takes us away from what should have been the main event, which is Hoult dealing with Cage. Instead, Hoult teams up with Aquafina, who he seems to have a crush on at first, but even that doesn't really matter much when there's John Wick-style action to be had. Why form funny chemistry between characters when you can just put them in a barrage of fight sequences? And even then, it's not exactly Wick-style because the movement of the action is not as big a payoff as the monsoons of fake blood. This really is for people who like their action to be over-the-top, gruesome cartoons. There's some interest in that. I mean, I like the scene where a man is impaled with another man's arms, but more so, I think trying to turn it into a cartoon is exactly what took me out of it. Aquafina seems to be taking this cop role far too seriously, and Hoult, who brings such sniveling, loathsome, yet kind of charming vibes to the Great, has all the qualities that would have made him a funny Renfield. But the movie just gives him mundane lines, like referencing things like Dracula's dry cleaning, and a joke about eating bugs that gets tired far too quickly. And that leaves Cage, who gets brought back into this whole thing eventually, working with the mob boss. When he's on screen, he lets loose with preening, seething rage, which is kind of entertaining, but this is one of the few times where he seems both underutilized and subdued, actually. Where the movie really disappoints, other than that Cage seems almost shoehorned into it, is that it denies us a funny premise for one that just doesn't really work. It's a cartoon action film that also seems to think it's more of a thriller. It's not funny. None of the pieces fit. That's why I'm going D plus, guys. But that is my opinion. I'd love to hear yours. Let me know down below there. Also, guys, if you could, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button. And I hope to see you back next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.